Well, good morning. It's a early Sunday morning, and can't see much here, but we have had, I would say about 10 inches overall, 8 to 10, and it's 19 degrees. 19 degrees out. So my son wants to go skiing, and so I'm looking to start the tractor, get it running, and go out in front so that he can safely go down. So anyway, stay tuned. I'm going to see if the tractor will start. She's been plugged in for a couple hours, so she should start. And we'll see you in the cab. Well, we'll let the glow plugs go here. See if it'll start on a 19-degree day. Let it cycle a couple times. Here we go. Yep, I think she'll start. Look at that. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Wow. Good job, tractor. All right, more later after she warms up. Say good morning, doggies. Kitties. Good morning. Good morning. You stay in while I go out, okay? All right. See, I need to bring this with me. Well, she should be warm enough by now. Sorry about the camera going back and forth. There's the tractor all nice and warm. It is 19 degrees, about 8 to 10 of new snow. Probably see over here. It's supposed to get down to below zero, so should be good to get this done. Okay, here we go. I think we're ready. Break off. Blade up. Good. Okay, she's warmed up, and I got a bolt in there on my that I had found. So that I can fix the snow blade. Okay, let's see if I can get out of here without hitting the gate. It's tight. I need to pull that over. Go the other way here. There we go. Okay, I think we're ready. Let's go. It's nothing like a nighttime snowplow. Got my hydraulics hooked in the other way, so it's seems backwards to me a little bit. So Well, as I was saying before, son's going skiing. Oh, shut that door. There we go. So I thought I'd just go out early and get this done. That way, we have some neighbors up here too, with some guests. So this way it'll all be open. Boy, did it come down yesterday. It was pretty. It snowed all day from about, I would say 11 o'clock on. And big flakes as well as small flakes. So yeah, no wind though, so that's a good thing. The trees are probably pretty full. You can always tell when you have a new snowfall is the trees over the road are heavy. This tractor, or excuse me, this loader is pretty tall, so I hit a lot of the branches. Oh, and that was the other thing. I didn't notice that. I was wondering why my LED warning light wasn't working. And it just kind of stopped, and I was thinking, whoa, that's weird. And the switch is on. And I went out to go look at it a little bit closer, turned it off, turned it on, and I'm thinking, boy, this thing should last longer than this. Thinking it was something internal. And here I had sheared off one of the wires, one of the branches. Just hit just right. And sheared off the wires right into the light. And so it's only a stub of a wire sticking out. So I got to figure out how to solder all that back together, take it off. Ugh. Oh, that's a little rough. Time to slow down. There's our neighbor here that doesn't usually come up for the winter, so it's just a cabin. So anyway, all these things that you run into. There's some more low-hanging branches. Just enough to make it a little interesting. You know, think about it, the weight of that snow on those branches, wow. Can you guys hear the engine and the transmission shifting? I'm sure you probably can. When it has a switch right here, right by my thumb, and I can just hit the button, and it'll shift down to the gear below where I'm at. And it's very handy to keep your speed where you want it to be and not be running away. Well, she's doing a nice job in the back there. You can see in my rear view mirror. I have lights that I put in here on the Stratter to the sides, and a big LED monster strip to the front. That's why it's pretty bright, plus the usual lights. Okay, here's my neighbor, so I don't want to block his driveway. Turn to the other side. There we go. Then I can go back. Oof. All right, now I'm going to go backwards this way, and there's a reason for this. Is that I like to push it to the left side so I can come back when we get another 3 feet and pile it about 50 feet. And I usually do that with the bucket, and that way it creates a snow barrier or a snow fence. So there's a reason why I'm pushing it left. And you can see where it's been drifting here. Oh, turn down that heat. She's warm. I don't know if the sun is going to come out. I didn't look for stars this morning. I don't think I saw any. So she's still overcast. We're supposed to get here 2 below by Monday night, I think. 2 below for nighttime. She's going to hang around 0 during the day. So, well, I gotta fix my mirror. I must have touched it when I went out. There you go, that's better. So that's bitter cold for here. Other parts of the country, you know, I'd like to know what your temperatures are. Alright, I'm going to speed up a little bit and throw this stuff over the side. There we go, that's working good. Wow, it's like water. I wish you could see the side. This is, oh, there's some rocks in here. I wish I could go really fast, but I can't. Because of the unknowns. So I'm taking off here on the side where she's probably about 3 feet deep, thereabouts. Let's see, this looks pretty safe in here. Let's see where she's drifted in, and it usually drifts from that side pretty good. Keenan and I went out last night to do some scouting to see how bad it was, to see if he could actually get through, because he's leaving early. He probably is getting ready to leave here any time now, so they can make it to the ski resort. Anyway, so we determined that probably best to go out, because I don't know what we didn't go all the way down. This way I can just be worried a little bit less. He's 18, pretty responsible young man. So there's that. Wonder if we'll see any four-wheelers out. Probably not this early. Usually on a Sunday, it is Super Bowl Sunday, so I doubt we'll see people out here. This might surprise you, but I'm not going to watch the game today. Just not a fan. Don't want to block his driveway. I'll come back and clear that. Alright, I'm going to shift over the other side here. Number one, let me tell you a couple reasons I don't like the Super Bowl. Not a sports fan overall. Second thing is I think the quality of the commercials and it used to be funny, now it's just kind of crude and just not something that I want to expose my family to, and I just choose not to be part of the media and the agenda. So I don't have any against anything that somebody might like that. Not a problem. It's just that I don't want to expose my family to those things and myself. There's a tree in there somewhere, beside the road. There's another low-hanging branch. Gonna get my window all snowy. Yup. I always like to push this as far off the road as I can, because I just don't know what the rest of the winter is going to be like, because it could keep piling up and then I have no place to push the snow. You know, it'd be really nice is I wish I had a side blade, and they make them for I think I'd have to adapt it onto the mount, but basically you can adjust the height and you can push things into the side. Usually you find them on graders, but I've seen them on loaders as well. I think it'd be a little tricky in most places, because look at what I have to work with. I got all kinds of garbage here. Trees, parts of trees down. So as much as it would be nice, there are areas that I could push it out a little bit more, but boy, I'd have to be on top of it. Otherwise, I'd bend up the mountain, cause all kinds of shenanigans. Ugh. Doesn't look like there's as much snow down here. It's amazing what a few hundred feet can do in elevation. It doesn't take much. I should finish my sentence. It doesn't take much to cause an accident when you're plowing. So much to think about. When I mean accident, I'm thinking about bending something up. All right, that blower is a little bit noisy. All right. Well, this isn't too bad. I like it when the snow just kind of flows like it's doing. When it's around freezing, it just doesn't flow. It just clumps. And then it's mushy underneath. Mushy, it's a professional term that supposedly snowplow drivers use. Mushy. See, there's a hazard right there. Easily hit that stump. Okay, now we're in an open area. I have to switch over and get this. Actually, calm down. I'm gonna reverse what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna put it on the other side. There's plenty of room. Yikes. This is what I get concerned about right here. When we get wind, this is going to fill all the way across. You gotta be really careful when you're doing this type of thing, because you can just twist that blade, hit the side of the bank. Hit a rock, hit something. There's all kinds of hazards here, just waiting to jump out in front of you. This is not as bad down here. I just went out, what was it, Friday, to do this section, so looks like a four-wheeler came through here yesterday. Oh man, I got my side panel open. How did that happen? Must not have been closed properly. Anyway, I'm not sure what I was saying. Oh yeah, blowing. I think this stuff, this is gonna fill when we get some wind, especially when it's cold. Wind can just come up and just move snow like there's no tomorrow. Blow it around. This area here would be really bad if it ever filled up, but it is completely tree covered. So the likelihood of that happening is pretty remote. Thank goodness. Because when they built these logging roads, that's what they were when they put them in, logging roads for access. They just cut through the forest, and they cut in ravines, basically. There we go. Poof, poof, poof. Okay, I'm going to go down the back side and make sure that is all clear, and then I will come up and down the front side. This is the safer way to come up this steep part we call rocky grade. And it is rocky on purpose, just because it is. That's quite the drop off on the side. All it takes is one wheel to drop off. Not be a good thing. Well, I need to get my side sticks back on. I tried to put this one on, have it in the cab, but it came off. Usually have to melt some plastic around it. It keeps coming off, so got to figure out plan B. Maybe putting it in a screw, double-sided. That way, see, this is what happens. Exactly what happens. Low-hanging branches messing with my lights. It's sure nice to have lights to see at night. Again, I do not like John Deere's wiper mechanism. I'm not sure why they have to have such a fast mode. You'd have to be in such a squall make that relevant. Half the speed would be better. And then a better intermittent. I would say if you could make the intermittent be maybe 2 modes of intermittent, that'd be great. So here I am talking about all these luxuries. And my neighbors used to come up here and plow the road with an open cab. No cab, nothing. And I'm complaining about windshield wipers. What in the world? Complaining that it's too warm in the cab. Huh. If only. If only they had a cab. I really like these chains. Man, do they suck the power, but do they deliver? There's all kinds of rocks in this road here. I'm trying to be careful. Yeah, on a film, I don't see any lights below, so that tells me that we got fog somewhere between here and the valley. Okay. Now I'm going to reverse here, push this out. Yeah, this is starting to fill. Oh, I'd love to go faster, but I can't. Yeah, this is pretty gnarly here. You can see somebody really struggled to get up here yesterday. Really struggled. Like several attempts struggled. It's a good thing I went out because this would have been a problem. Now I can kind of fling it. There we go. Running like 12 miles an hour for speed. Now I gotta slow down because there are rocks here. Okay, switch over. You know, I have to hand it to the engineer that built this blade and the mounts and everything else. It's pretty impressive to build something that can take a hit and still operate. And then still be able to swivel it. The side-to-side hydraulics are not the best. I would put bigger rams in it, but maybe they did that on purpose. Because I've seen it take a hit to the side and just kind of push that blade back. I'm just thinking about that hydraulic pressure on those in the lines. That's pretty brutal. So if you had something more stout, bigger ram, and maybe it would be worse. So I'm thinking maybe more that that's better for carving. Okay. This usually starts to fill up too, but no wind. I'm starting to get hungry. Okay, go over and grab this edge. Yeah, see, it's hard to tell where the edge of the bank is, and I'm carving it. I can see it because I'm taking it off. Okay, more snow on the windshield. Oh, that wasn't too bad. It's just high enough. This is what cracks me up, and I know that they're younger kids that are four-wheeling, is I'll plow all this, and they intentionally go off into the bank. Okay, well, there's carving the mud pretty good there. You can see what they did. It could kind of go through the side. I did the same thing as a kid, just to kind of have some fun. Because it's not fun. Oh, see, look at this. We got slush. It's not fun to stay in the road. You have to go off to the side and see if you can get stuck. The problem is you don't know what's there. It could be a rock there, it could be a bank there, it could be a stump there. Oh, the days of youth and figuring things out. I'm not saying I don't make stupid mistakes, I do. There's nothing wrong with having a little fun here and there. I'm just pointing out an observation. This would be my brother, by the way. He would be off on the side going through the snow, and he'd have his head looking out the window to watch the tire go through the snow. That's just what he did and does, probably still. It's part of four-wheeling to see your expensive multi-thousand-dollar tires go through the snow. Oh, too funny. Okay, I'm going to switch on this one, and I'm going to try to push this out with some speed if I can get up the hill here. The bad thing about cameras, you cannot see how steep it is. The perception is different, way different. Let's see if I can push this over the edge. That's what I would like to do. It's always more difficult to plow going uphill. It's kind of fun to plow the pillow drifts that are really deep. See, you get some dirt in there, some mud. Ugh. It's a bouncing of the blade, which makes the road bouncy. Oh, there's some wildlife that went across the road. Okay, we're approaching the Grand Canyon. They have all these names, like code names, secret code names. We're about 3 miles down, 3.5 of the 6 of the driveway. Ponderosa pine. All these names. The reason that, yeah, I've told the story so many times. This is where it fills up, and you have to. It's too much for anything of this snowplow blade. You got to come and bucket it, and you're bucketing left and bucketing right, bucketing left and right. And an hour later, you're finally through, maybe. Ouch. See, I would love to go as fast as those guys do in Switzerland. But I know I just can't, because I would tear this thing up to pieces. The blade would be in shambles. And I've broken the main bolt on here once, and I don't want to do it again. The main bolt is where this blade swivels. And then you got to go home, because you're broken. And you're held up by the springs. That's not a good day. So I would love to go fast and throw snow as far as I could, but I know there's a price to pay if I do. Okay, here's another area. Yep. I'm just gonna throw this to the side here. It's dry enough that I can throw it across the fence. Yeah, that's fun. Woohoo! Scatter it. It's not piling, it's actually just going on the other side of the fence. So it's actually doing a good job. Wow. All kinds of snow dust. Okay, so that's my 12 miles an hour fast. It's about as fast as I can go. Or I should go. There we go. I can see a house down there, or two. Ugh. It's usually my turnaround spot. One of them. No turnaround today. Got to keep going. And this is so much easier to do going downhill rather than uphill. And I'm just spreading it on the other side of the fence, and it's flowing nicely. So if I don't take this out, it will keep blowing in. Whoa, see? There's a mound of dirt in there somewhere. Poof, 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 poof. It's so much fun. See, instead of hitting this with a four-wheeler, it's better to hit it with a blade. Oh, sorry, I have to ramble. On a spiritual note, I've been reading, studying in Revelation, and for you believers out there, there are some things that are rapidly taking place in the world that are signs of the end. And we are told in the Bible to be watchmen. So we have a duty to be watchmen, and that is, and by the way, I'm not preaching to you, I'm preaching to myself here. The role of a watchman is to watch for the signs of the end, so that, and prepare ourselves so that we can be sanctified and to stand at the end. It's an awesome thought. Something I think about quite a bit. Stand before a perfect God. And there are all kinds of things happening all around us from 9/11 forward that are pointing to a rapid end, very quick end. The Bible says they are like birth pains, excuse me, that get more rapid and rapid. So those are warnings that we need to prepare ourselves and our families. And the only way to do that is to take time to study, to get to know God and His character. So it's a humble thing. It's a humble thing to look at your own sins and the things of this world that are holding you back. Think about those things very often. You know, I'll just kind of pick on some things here, like social media, the internet. Are we watching what we should be watching? I think most men struggle with things like that, if not all. So we have to guard our hearts, guard our minds, guard our eyes. Somebody turned around there. To be pure. And those types of battles are very critical. And we need to be praying. We need to be praying that God can provide us strength. So the other things that I see are signs is this thing with Israel and the Gaza Strip. And the U.S. wanting to occupy or take over the Gaza Strip. I've been thinking about that one quite a bit, because if that actually promotes, this is just my opinion, and learned this yesterday in a study. Perhaps it's God holding back the four winds. A merciful God that doesn't want anyone to perish. Because I believe that in the time of the end, that Armageddon is a real thing, and I believe it'll take place literally as the Bible has predicted. Why else would God put all these things if we couldn't understand them? So I believe that the U.S. being there would have a presence of delaying the inevitable. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Well, I can see the lights of the city on the top of the fog layer. Just gonna go down here, push this to the side, even though it's not much, just a few inches up down here. Don't want to see them. I think I want to do it backwards. Don't want to block their driveway. I'm going to lift up here a little bit because I don't want to disturb the precious gravel. Gravel and rock that they put in here. Well, let's see, I'll go down here and turn around and start my 6-mile trek back up. I wonder if the other plows are out at this time on a Sunday. Probably not. It's about 6:30. I guess it depends. Could be that they're out. It'd be fun to do this on the roads. I want to be a real snowplow driver. Got bad enough, I'd actually go out and do it on the roads. It's not bad enough for me to take the time. I've done it before. Okay, now we go up the hill. probably run into Keenan coming down. I'm sure I will. Set my alarm clock for 5, and I got up at 3, and I looked to see what time it was. Went back, turned over. 4:40. When I woke up, I beat my alarm clock. I'm sure you guys do that too. I guess it's better than not beating the alarm clock. Starting to get light out here. Just barely. I see a light in the distance. Oh, that's not a light. That's a reflector. Oh my. Time to go back to bed. Guess what I did this morning? I remembered to bring an extra battery. Because my charger in the cab, I need a long enough cord to charge it while it's videoing. But I brought an extra battery, so I should be good. By the way, I'm shooting with a DJI camera, the Osmo Action 4. And it sure does a nice job. I have GoPros as well, but I have my first DJI camera and I really like it. Several things I really like about it. One is the Bluetooth capability with Mini 2 microphones, which is, if you remember on previous episodes, my microphone was just terrible. But now I can use the Mic 2 Mini, and it's all Bluetooth. So there's not have to worry about cords. I don't have to worry about anything. I just kind of turn it on. And it syncs, and it works. That's one of the best features. The other features are very nice stabilization for the video. It doesn't jump all over the place, and I love the battery life. It's supposed to recharge fast, and it does. I'm thinking about there's another camera that I'd like to get, you know, because you're always thinking about the next thing, right? And I've got to use this, is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Pocket 3 is a pretty cool camera. I'm not sure it'd be good for snowplow, but it has tracking. It has face tracking, and so you can actually be blogging, and you're working in an area. It'll actually follow you around the room or around outside. That's a pretty cool feature. Plus, it has all the Bluetooth capability for the mic, stabilization, and it's got a 1-inch sensor, and all these technical things that kind of like, but it's pretty expensive. It's $519. And right now I just don't have that budget to spend on another camera. I would like to do a reverse view. It always makes me nervous to put a camera on the outside on a blade or something, or a fender. Maybe I just got to get over it. I clip it on because of all the brush, I don't know, the trees and the low limbs, that I might lose it and then it's gone. But maybe I just have to put it in the right place. Well, it's starting to get more daylight here as I'm looking around. This is where you use the fuel. It's going uphill. What time is it? Well, it's 6:39. Okay. Speaking of ski hills, this is a crazy idea, but I always thought it would be awesome to put in a chairlift up on the property. Just put in that cable going down, because we have, it's only like 250 feet to the bottom of the canyon. It'd sure be nice to ride a chair going down and up, or at least a rope pole, because I wonder, there's a creek down there, and sometimes I like to see it, but it's too much snow to go through. So I always thought it would be fun to fire electric rope tow up, and then I suppose you could ski down our little road, access road, switchback. Of course, not as young as I used to be. And you know what could happen. Just saying. Oh man, it is rough there. I think I'm blading the road. In fact, I know I'm blading the road. It's so rough. Well, I'm thinking about projects I need to do around the house. There's always something to do. A lot of finish work I need to do on finish the stairway. I gotta do trim. There's some tile I need to do. Does this sound familiar? Do you have jobs like this that are on your list? I'm sure you do, and much more. I'm looking at my fuel gauge and I'm barely off of full. When I'm going back up or uphill, you can usually see the gauge dip. Going downhill, the float must be in the front of the tank. Yeah, you can see it just kind of pushed it all the way across the fence. That's nice. Nice to create a 20-foot path. That's my guesstimate as far as a little bit of overhang. There we go. We'll get a little speed going here. That's a pretty smooth part of the road. Flowing pretty good. Here's what we call the Heavenly Gates. Hello, Heavenly Gates. Beautiful gate. Very expensive gates. Well, I like to reminisce a little bit. Kind of tells you a little bit about my background and my, not that it matters, but I grew up as a farm kid, North Dakota. And we had about 500 acres, thereabouts. It fluctuated up and down depending on if we rented some land. It was plenty for us to do as a family of four with the small machinery that we had. We couldn't afford the new stuff. So I think we had one new tractor. Most of them were used combines, etc. Let's see, for combines, this goes back into the early 80s, 70s, late 70s, early 80s. This is my youth as a kid and teenager. We had a 55 John Deere combine. Open cab and no cab, open air design, I should say. And forgive me if I've told this story before, but on that combine it was so, the cylinder in it was probably 24 inches, maybe it was 30 inches wide, so it couldn't take much. We had swathers, because we didn't straight cut back then. It was all swath, and we pick up the rows. We're usually with 16-foot swathers. It's quite a bit for a 55 John Deere. So when you had a good crop, and a good crop back in North Dakota, it was yielding 40 bushel, sometimes 45, and 45 bushels an acre, usually between 35 and 40 on dry land. This is before chemical, putting down chemical and that type of thing. So we would when I'd get into the 55, I would have the small combine. My dad would have the bigger combine, which was a 96 pull type, be on the tractor. And that 96, so for those of you that don't know, the 95 series was a pretty nice combine. But we had the pull type would be the one more number, the 96. Anyway, he had a case tractor, 1170 on that, and it actually was pretty nicely matched PTO for the combine. But back to the 55. Oh, yeah, and he had a cab and air conditioning sometimes, and I didn't. So I'd be going down the field and we'd be clutching it in first gear because there was no lower gear, and we'd have weeds in the swath and Canadian thistle. You guys know what that is, especially if you're from the Midwest. And you have weeds that you'd have to thresh through the machine, and you could plug up the machine so quick if you're not paying attention. And you're clutching it going down the row, and all of a sudden, sometimes the feeder housing would bunch up on you, and you'd ingest wheat and weeds. Oh boy, and you'd slug up the cylinder. The only way, there was no reverser on those machines like they do on modern machines. In other words, reversing the feeder housing cylinder. The only way is you'd have to get out, shut off the machine, drop the feeder housing. There were some doors that you could open the latches, and you had to hammer them because they were so hard to get open. So tap, 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 tap. And then it opened, and you would have all kinds of chaff and wheat down your shirt. I still remember it to this day. Hot. And you had to go into the machine, the cylinder area, and literally pull it out with your hands. The machine's off, of course. And you had to open up that path so that when you started the machine, it would actually be able to run again. So that's what you would do, and you'd learn real quick that you could either do that and go a little bit faster, or you could slow down and go really slow because your machine could not take it. Guess which path I chose, or any sane person would do, is to slow down. So you'll learn really quick what to do. Anyway, we'd be going up and down the field, and usually in North Dakota there's wind, always wind, and the wind was really good when it was in your face. That means that it was blowing towards you, and the chaff from the machine would just go straight out the back. But you'd get to the end of the field and you have to turn around, and all these memories flowing back. Then you'd have to turn around. So you turn around and get to the row, which is, by the way, there is a way that you'd have to take the row, and it has to be heads first, not tails first. Tailings first, heads first. Never threshes is good if you're taking the tail first. So anyway, we that's an obvious thing. So when you turned around, you had all the chaff that would swirl around you. Open. There's no cab. There's no air conditioning. There's nothing. So what we did is we would sit on top of the tank, and we would steer. Usually the fields are pretty flat, so you didn't have to adjust the platform up and down too much. Sometimes you did, to avoid rocks. You don't want to ingest a rock either. That's really bad. And we would sit on the tank just to get out of the dust and the chaff. And we'd steer the steering wheel with our feet. You'd have to have a picture. Maybe I'll post one of those in the community so you can know what I'm talking about. And it was wonderful to be able to get above the dust a little bit. By the end of the day, your face and your nose and your mouth would be all just dirt and dust. And I can tell you that being in the cab on the tractor was sometimes not as pleasant either, because we had air conditioning that would freeze up or not work at all. And nothing worse about being in a cab is without air conditioning on a warm day, hot day, in 90s, less humidity, all that stuff, right? So the first thing was to always make sure the air conditioner worked, if you could get it working. So there was pluses and minuses of being on each machine. Now, here's something else that, you know, boys and girls never do this at home. But we would have to check the machine. And the only way to check the machine to make sure it was doing a good job of threshing is to go, you'd have a shovel that you would have with you, and you'd take that shovel, usually have another person, and they would put it underneath the walkers to see if it was actually threshing properly, or if you were leaving wheat in the heads. Farmers still do this to the day, but they have monitors that actually do the job now, if you can trust the monitors. So anyway, you would go through, take the shovel, put it under the walkers where the chaff was coming out, not the straw chopper, but the one just before, and you'd take a look to see what kind of job it was doing, and you'd adjust the cylinder, how close it was, to do a better job. And there's other things you can adjust to, like fan speed, all kinds of things. So that was a great thing if you had 2 people. Sometimes you only had one person to do that, and so okay, all right, we are back. Had to change the battery. I'm just pushing out some snow here on this opening. My story here in just a second. Just gotta turn around. All right, back up. Backing up, turning around. Don't hit the fence. Okay. See, hydraulics are backwards. Anyway, so if you didn't have 2 people to adjust the combine, talking about combining memories, in order to see how good of a job, I'd put it was already in low gear, but I'd step off of the combine while it's going down the row. Very dangerous thing to do. It's going down the road, I'm off walking beside it, and I've got my shovel, and I'm getting some samples, looking around my shoulder to make sure it's still doing a good job or it's still in the row, because the pickup was only, I don't know, 6 feet wide. So if it's a bad thing if you leave the row. So anyway, I'm testing it to make sure it's doing a good job, and then I'm running right beside to jump on the machine and get the row back centered where it needs to be. Very dangerous. Do not recommend that anyone would do that, but that's what we did. That's what I did. So the things you do in youth, you know, you think you're invincible. Really not. Here's another story. I'll just tell you real quick. We eventually got a big machine, a used combine, John Deere 6600 side hill. It was a beautiful machine. Had the 6-cylinder diesel right beside you, 6-cylinder inline, turbocharged, of course. The side hills were turbocharged. The regular machines, 6600s, were not turbocharged. You needed that extra power to be able to go up and down the hills, all that stuff. That was the theory. So that turbocharged engine actually had bigger, I think the combine was actually bigger overall because it could thresh much more than a regular 6600. I love that, driving that machine. She was beautiful. She had air conditioning. But as a teenager, we would have rains during harvest time, and you'd have to clean out what was left in the bin, in the holding bin on the combine. And so I would bring it up. I brought it up by the house so I could hook it up to the pressure washer, and I washed it out, and you had the auger folded back. And this was a type of design where the auger could, when you were operating it going down the field, it was always out, and it would be locked in place, and that's just the way it worked, right? So I had the auger folded back so I could actually spray and clean it out pretty easily. And I got done with the job, and what I usually did is I would extend the auger, lock it back in place, and then I'd run it to get all of the stuff that was left in it that was wet wheat, you know, and run it through the auger, the unloading auger, and be done. But what I failed to do, and I was in a hurry, we were just about to start harvest. We hadn't started yet. I failed to pay attention, and the next thing I know, I hit the side of the house with the auger, and I bent that auger probably 5 degrees by the time I stopped, and of course it did not work any longer. And what I remember to this day, I'll probably take it to the grave, is that I had to do the walk of shame across the yard to tell my dad that I had broken the combine a day before we were supposed to start combining. That was seemed like a day just walking, and I was crying. Probably 12, 13, I don't know, somewhere in there. Oh, here's Keenan. Stand by, I'll be back. Alright, there he goes. Just had a nice chat there. Going down the backside, he should be fine. Okay, back to my story. I had no idea what my dad was going to do, because I broke his precious combine days before we had to go out, or a day before, I don't remember. I went up there crying. I said, Dad, I'm so sorry. I was washing out the bin, and I wasn't paying attention. And I hit just sat there, and I was just standing there, I should say, and just waiting for him to blow up. But he didn't blow up. He said, well, let's go take a look at it. My dad was the type that was strong silent type. And he went and took a look at it and said, well, I think we can fix this. And I said, what? It's broken. He says, yeah, I think we can fix this. So he bent it back. We had to take it all apart. Take the inside auger apart. Kind of straightened it the best he could. We looked into parts as far as we had to buy a new auger section. And by the way, there's a reason that I'm blading this like this, creating this mound on the side. It's for safety. There's some dirt underneath there. That's why I'm putting it rock. Anyway, so yeah, he fixed it. It was good enough to be functional. It vibrated like crazy when we unloaded the bin. But he didn't scope it. Maybe he might have said, you know, well, next time, pay attention to what you're doing. That was it. I think about all the times that I've blown up at my kids over smaller things. And I wish I was half the man that my dad was. Anyway, that's my story. That's my testimony. Sons want to be like their fathers. Daughters like their mothers. But that's my story. He was an incredible guy. Been gone for 20 some years. And I hope to grow up someday to be just like him. Okay. Enough mushy stuff. Time to get the job done here. Backing up. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now, let's go back this way. Oh. Anyway, if you guys have stories from childhood, love to hear them. Put them in the comment section. It'd be a good way to get to know you a little bit better. Oh, this is a rocky area. Yikes. Should show you what it's like in the summer. Some kinds of hazards. little speechless after that memory. I remember many things that we did as kids to try to please our folks. We did a lot of crazy stuff too, like riding motorcycles. Here's a funny one. We would usually burn a field, so it was a way to get rid of weeds, to burn the seed and the chaff and all the straw, and it was a controlled burn, you know. Oh, that looks really low. Anyway, part of the fun after the field was burned is to go drive through it with your motorcycle, right? The reason being that you could see your tracks, and we thought that was cool. So my brother and I were riding, him on his Yamaha, me on the Honda, and you know, it was sooty and all these other things, right? It's just part of the fun, dusty. But all of a sudden I'm looking around and my brother had smucked out. In other words, he had dumped it. And he did a face plant right into the soot, the black soot. And the next thing I saw was white eyes in a black face. And it was so funny. And his mouth, of course, just gasping. So that's the only thing you could see in his face, was eyes and a mouth. And I was just laughing and laughing and laughing at him so much. I wish I had a picture. It's in my mind. And he started laughing because it was so funny. It was hilarious. He had to be there. There's nothing funnier than letting or seeing something happen to your brother in a good way. I'm sure you have your own brother or sister memories like that. If so, put them in the comments. Oh, that wiper really slaps back and forth. I'm getting hungry for breakfast. Well, looks like the sun may come out a little bit eventually.
Hello, can anybody hear me? Todd.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't see him because his phone isn't.
His phone isn't what? Looks like I'm in a bad spot. I'm on top of the hill now. I should be able to talk. I came across him on the top of Rocky Grade. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Anyway, he was fine. He went on the backside, and I just kept going up the hill or down the hill. Ooh, looks a little frosty this morning, and it is. Beautiful day. So there's one other thing I just wanted to bring up here too. For those of you that want to understand Daniel and the Revelation, because Daniel and the Revelation go hand in hand, right? The wire on the road. Why is there a wire?
Just slow down, is that okay?
What's that?
I'm gonna keep the dogs out. This is okay?
Yep, that's fine. Anyway, as I was saying, I've been just trying to study prophecy. An excellent book, because Daniel and the Revelation go hand in hand together, that I have been reading. It's a great study material. It's an old book, very old book. It's called Daniel and the Revelation. And you need to get the 1897 version, 1897 Pioneer Edition. And it is just a wonderful book to help you go chapter by chapter, verse by verse, to understand how prophetic things have happened, starting with Daniel and going through Revelation. And it's just a wonderful commentary that brings Bible truths so that we can understand. God has meant this book to be understood, or these books to be understood in the Bible. And anyway, I highly recommend that book. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, and I'll try to answer best I can. Okay, we're getting back up to my neighbor, my good friend, my neighbor's place here. Kind of opened it up a little bit. This road is nice and wide now. It's getting there, I should say. No reverse needed. Oh, I am in reverse. Silly. Say no gas needed. It just does its thing. This is the nice thing about having a loader. You can just go up over things. Much better. Backblade this out here a little bit. There we go. Nice. Okay, then we can keep blading. He's got his own tractor, and he likes to do his driveway. Otherwise, I would go in and do it for him. But it's a little early to stop by. I don't want to wake up. He's got company. What else do I have in my pocket for snacks? My last snack. Oh yeah. Shoe leather. Not shoe leather, but you know, it's like a shoe leather. Oops. Yeah, I dropped it. On the dirty fur. It's all good. Fruit leather, that's what it is. of a dilemma. Oh, bumpy, bumpy. You want to get close to the edge, but you're underneath the trees. And if you get too close, you get inundated with snow. Well, that tastes a little old. Oh. Okay, back on the job. More snow. Oof. Well, now that it's daylight, you can kind of see what's going on a lot better. Well, some poles right there. Yeah, there's one of them. This is not too bad here, so I can go a little faster. There we go. 13 world record speed. It was short-lived. This is an area, another little Grand Canyon here that gets really inundated too. It just starts filling up. And you have to eventually bucket the sides. Again, the four-wheelers are not going to like this because they're expecting snow. Boy, there's a lot of difference in elevation. The higher you go up, the deeper it is. It's amazing how much difference. that it really makes. Take a couple pictures. Good enough. Well, we're starting to get a layer of snow and a base layer here where it's not as bad. I'm not feeling every rock, but it takes a while to build up that base layer. As vehicles get on it, it helps to have a compact base, I guess. And it's frozen too. Several areas that are still very warm underneath that road, or on top of the road. This fills up too. Sure pretty though. Look at all that snow on those trees. It's amazing that more trees don't fall down with the weight of the snow. Well, I burned some diesel this morning, probably 20, I would say 20, 25 gallons, somewhere there. $75, $85, $90. Okay, I gotta go clear his driveway a little bit. Not sure when he's gonna be up, but not much of a fence left. cleanup to do. There we go. Rough. Almost home. Let's see, start at 5:30, 7:30, 2 hours of plowing. Not too bad. Sure working good. She's working good. Oh, very bumpy. Well, sure appreciate you guys watching and commenting, and again, let me know if you have memories in the chat. I also want to know how cold it's going to be getting where you're at, how much snow, any snow updates that you have. And make sure you tell your friends about the channel. I got some videos coming up when I was in Washington, D.C. here a couple weeks ago. Still trying to finish that one. And on a volunteer trip that I did. I have some videos about our root cellar that I haven't published yet, that I did this last fall, and that's really turned out to be quite the blessing as well. What else do I have? Oh, I have some greenhouse video. Not a greenhouse, but it's actually our bathroom that we converted into kind of a starting greenhouse. Slow down. And I need to do some filming on that. Snowblower. I have that electric snowblower that is actually turned out to be a pretty good thing. I kind of like it after all the startup problems I had with it, but it clears a pretty good path. So I'll probably have some video about that, and maybe some other home improvement videos here. Boy, it's sure pretty with all the snow on the trees. Well, there's Kodiak. He's out there playing in the snow, marking his territory. I guess he's being a good dog, I guess. Alright, the rest I'm just going to clean up around the yard a little bit. And I'm going to have some breakfast. Anyway, hope you guys have a great week. And let me know how things are going where you're at. I appreciate you watching. You can barely see my gate. That's how deep it is. Boy, that snow is light. Alright, don't want to block the road here, so I gotta... I don't know, maybe I'll just go up a little bit above the road here. It's my turnaround spot. Getting deep up here. It's like big monuments beside. Boy, this forest looks much better. You can actually see through it now. Pushing snow over the side. That's a good feeling. Rough. Let's see, I'll open this up here a little bit. Found a gate. There's some snow. So if anybody had to get through, they could. There we go. Go up here and turn around. Nice spot to turn around. There we go. See if I can do this without hitting the gate. Yeah, just barely. That's the tricky part. It's a good thing I can raise this thing above, otherwise I'd hit it. There we go. A lot of snow to push off the side.